My people, now how on a day today? I say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, depending on where you're listening to the sound of my voice. This is the Biafra Superstars Media, and I'm holding it down. I say may God bless Biafra, and may God bless His Excellency, Nnamdi Kanu. May God bless His Excellency, Nnamdi Kanu. I repeat, may God bless His Excellency, Nnamdi Kanu. May God bless, may God bless, may God bless His Excellency, the Prime Minister of Biafra, His Excellency, ESN, Ekpa Simon Njoku, for the job Simon is doing. Simon, I want to say we thank you. We appreciate you, we love you, because we know in your hands Biafra has come. In your hands Biafra will be safe. And in your hands, now that Biafra has come, the people of Biafra will rejoice. When we say the people, we mean the men, the women, the children, the old, the young, the sick, the mild, the gentle, the civilized and the uncivilized, those born in Biafra and those born in the bite of Biafra. We shall all come together under one voice, under one accord, under one union, under one government, and under one God, to scream for Hallelujah Day, the day that the God of Biafra has made. Lord, have mercy. Everything we say, we anchor it in the name of God. Through God, we do what we do. But the enemies of Biafra, they've said all sorts of things about us. Today, they are saying, as a breaking news, that we, the Biafrans, we are killing priests. We are killing men of God in Biafra land. When I hear this, I say, wow, the enemy will stoop so low to say whatever they want to say against us. Giving a dog a bad name just to hang it. The enemy will remain the enemy. I don't expect the devil to change. The devil in your life will remain the devil in your life. And their sole assignment is to find a way to bring you down. Is to find a way to tarnish your image. Find a way to destroy your reputation. Find a way to make others who believe in you to backslid and let go of you. Giving a dog a bad name just to hang it. Giving a dog a bad name just to hang it. Lord have mercy. What our leader is going through today is worse than I even thought. Nigerian government have done their own, and today Nigerian media have picked up the baton and they are carrying on from where their government stopped. I will show you things today that will touch your mind. You know, I was really taken aback seeing what I saw today. I was really sad that, wow, when it comes to the Biafrans, things are different in Nigeria. But for now, we must give thanks that our brother, Barrister Aloy Jimako, and the whole team, they went to visit our leader Nnamdi Kanu, where he's been held in Sokoto prison. As we speak, this is breaking news. It's coming all the way by Barrister Aloy Jimako. For 2 days they spent in Sokoto, where they went to see our leader, who is in high spirit. In this tweet, he said, "We just concluded a visitation with Nnamdi Kanu. Amongst the delegation is Honorable Obi Agwacha, who also met with Oyendo yesterday." God bless him, God bless him, God bless him. After which the Igbo community here gave us a fraternal reception. We shall visit MMK again tomorrow, and more delegations is on the way. They will turn Sokoto prison into a pilgrimage where we shall support, appreciate, encourage our leader Nnamdi Kanu. They can do what they want to do. They can send him into the moon, but that will not stop the goodness of a person. So let's quickly watch the video of them giving a very quick, wrap up of what happened yesterday. Watch it.
They get the Sokoto Sokoto with love.
Okay, so that's fine.
You make small video.
That's more video.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you.
That's a very quick one.
They get the Sokoto.
They get the Sokoto because people will say, ah, no, don't mind them. They are liars. They are somewhere in Abuja. So he said, they get the Sokoto. So it's good. The poster there you're saying, it says Sokoto to Nigeria. I mean to Abuja. So perhaps once they are done, they can always find their way back to Abuja. So here they are, the whole team.
Okay, so that's fine.
And we're happy about this.
That's more video.
We're happy about this.
Thank you very much, sir.
Sokoto, the land will be blessed. The land of Sokoto, for the fact our leader is there. Blessings will come your way. The grace of the God of Biafra will be upon you. That's how it is. Because even in the Bible, when Jesus was going everywhere, he went about doing good. The prison ward, or the warders in Sokoto prison, they will gain wisdom. Something new will touch them. They will have a new experience of we, the Biafrans. And perhaps, when they go back home, they will tell their family, Walai talai, these Biafra people, they are good. Walai talai, Nnamdi Kanu is a good man. I spoke to him every day. He has changed my life. Walai talai, Igbos are good people. Igbos are good people. So let's keep on going. Let's keep on going. This was the day they got there. As you can see, that's again Barrister Aloy Jimako. When he got there, which was yesterday, he said, I just arrived Sokoto with Prince Emmanuel Kanu and his wife to have a visitation with Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. Ndị Igbo must vigorously rise to the urgent task of freeing MMK from the ordeal and injustice that reflects on all of us. With respect to our good friend, our brother, Prince Emmanuel Kanu, and his wife. I say respect to a man I respect, I appreciate, Prince, fine boy, Emmanuel Kanu, and his wife. At this point, I want to think out loud. What is happening to the wife of Nnamdi Kanu? I'll be careful and respectful here. I'll be careful and respectful here. Because the first person who should be visiting Nnamdi Kanu in Sokoto prison should be his wife, Uche Kanu. But I understand. I get it. Sometimes the action of a woman, I made a video about yesterday or 2 days ago, where I discussed sometimes when a woman is angry, when a woman is angry, she can do the unthinkable. The action of a woman, perhaps, let our leader live in UK, a secure environment to Kenya. Perhaps. Being that he was no longer with his wife, perhaps. He probably found himself in Kenya. As we know, in UK, most cases, during their winter time, things are cold there. Always raining, never sunny. A country that is always raining, never sunny. Perhaps our leader said, okay, let me take holiday and go to Kenya, to a hot environment. I am tired of the argument. I am tired of the in-house fighting. I am tired of all the shoutings and false allegations. Let me go to Kenya on holiday. This is just me thinking out loud. This is just me thinking out loud. I'm not saying that's for fact, but this is just me thinking out loud. So that here they are, our good friend Emmanuel, fine boy, Prince Kanu, and his wife. His wife took the time to fly to Sokoto to visit Nnamdi Kanu. But the wife of Nnamdi Kanu, Uchechi, she's still in the UK, hiding in the dark, making a video in the dark on the day her husband, our leader, was sentenced to life imprisonment through a criminal court headed by a judge who could not read. James Omotosho, a judge who could not read. A shameless animal. A functioning illiterate who could not read. In reading, I believe it has 4 components. Speaking, writing, reading, and the 4th one is something it has to come through my mind. It has to come through my mind. Yes, I believe it is speaking, writing, reading, and the 4th one. You must be able to comprehend all 4 types. You must be able to comprehend all 4 types. You must be proficient in all. Speaking, reading, writing, and listening. Yeah, the 4th one is listening. Your listening skills. And it was glaring that Omotosho, a judge, God have mercy, could not read. He failed when it came to reading. He could not read because he didn't know those words. And also, it was a pre-prepared statement. Omotosho could not read. He called Stooge, Stoogie, S-T-O-O-G-E, Stooge. He said Stoogie. Nnamdi Kanu and his Stoogie. He asked Stoogie. I said, what is this guy talking about? Stoogie. I said, wow. He's saying Stooge. He called it Stoogie. God, aye. The most educated. God. A judge could not read. A stooge. He pronounced stooge as Stoogie. Nnamdi Kanu, he's Stoogie. I said, what is Stoogie? Which one be Stoogie again? If he wrote it, there is no way he'll make that mistake. Stooge. Let me read the dictionary meaning of it. Stooge, a subordinate used by another to do unpleasant routine work. But they were trying to say that Nnamdi Kanu has, stooges that were doing unpleasant works for him. So he now said, Nnamdi Kanu, he has some stoogie, a stoogie. I said, what is this guy talking about? Stoogie? If you wrote it down, then reading it will be easier because those are your words. That's the way you speak. That's the way you communicate. But when someone writes something for you and you were being intellectually lazy to cram and practice before you go out to do your judgment, then and only then you are left wide open for a sucker punch. You were disgraced live on air, but those in Nigeria who love to the way things are will not discuss that. That a judge, someone who rose to the position of a judge, was speaking that way. Calling Stoogie. God have mercy. Hey, wow, these people hatred will make you to be blind. When you hate somebody, you'll be blind to the truth. When you hate somebody, you'll be blind to the truth. At this point, my people, I'd like us to please listen to a brother who is based in the UK, giving his own perspective of what happened in your Nigerian court against Nnamdi Kanu. He's based in the UK. I believe he's a member of parliament, an MP. So let us hear what he said. His own perspective of what happened, what transpired in your court. Let's go there. Listen.
Hello, my name is Councillor Ukono Obasi, based in the United Kingdom. I just wanted to make this video to react to the judgment made by the Nigerian court on Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, where the court found him guilty of terrorism charges and sentenced him to life imprisonment. And I want to say this. It is wrong. It is very wrong. First of all, you have no jurisdiction to make that, to try the case in the first place. One, this is someone who was illegally detained, right? So you detain someone under the guise of having done something, and you found out that where he committed the alleged crime was outside of your jurisdiction. So by your own admission, this alleged crime was committed in the United Kingdom, and you're alleging that you have jurisdiction to charge someone for crimes that they committed in another jurisdiction that you have no power over. Second, okay, there's already a judgment that that shows that you tried to assassinate this person when he was a ward of the court. So there's a judgment against the Nigerian state. He did not jump bail. He escaped an assassination attempt. And in doing so, Nigeria broke international law to go to Kenya to abduct him, carry out extraordinary rendition to force him back to Nigeria against international law. And you cannot therefore have legality on the back of illegality. So once you have a situation where you've already broken the law to bring someone illegally into Nigeria, you don't have any basis to put that person on judgment. And then the crimes, the crimes you're even using to judge him on is one that you repealed. The Nigerian court repealed the very laws that they're charging him with. So how can you charge someone with a repealed law? It's not possible.
Hold on, my brother. That's because in Nigeria, elephants can fly. Only in Nigeria, when it comes to us, the Biafrans, everything goes. Everything is on the table. When it comes to us, they can do the unthinkable. Let the whole world hear this. When it comes to we, the Biafrans, the government of Nigeria will do the unthinkable. They will do something that even sometimes the whole world will frown at. How is this possible? But unfortunately, once it's done, even the media houses of Nigeria don't speak about it. So when it comes to us, unfortunately, the hatred is unified against us. I keep saying this, when it comes to the Biafrans, there is something they call unity in disunity. They know there is tribalism happening in Nigeria. They know about the killings, the genocide of the Christians in Nigeria. But the only time they will unify is when the activities or the issues have to do with us, the Biafrans. But I'll fall back and allow you to complete your speech. Continue, please. I'm so sorry for stopping you.
Practical. And to cap up the hypocrisy of it, you have a country that is negotiating with terrorists, paying ransom to terrorists, cuddling terrorists, integrating them into the army, and saying that these people who have committed heinous crimes against the Nigerian people, against the Nigerian state, that these people should be free, they're allowed to be free, they enjoy money, wealth, protection even from the Nigerian state. But someone who simply demanded self-determination through referendum for people who have been marginalized and continue to be marginalized, you're saying that you're going to sentence the person to life imprisonment. The world looks at Nigeria and it's a joke.
A joke.
It's a mockery. It's sad. It is unfortunate, but at the same time, it is not unexpected, because we know that Nigeria is a failed state by every definition, and it is behaving this way because it is a failed state. If it was a country that had legality, you wouldn't have a situation where this process was the joke that it is, a kangaroo court. If you had a sane process, you wouldn't have the victims of NSAS still being prosecuted. You wouldn't have no person sanctioned or punished for the massacre that occurred in October 2020 in Nigeria. You wouldn't have months and years of killings, kidnappings going on from community to one community to another, and nothing is being done to address it. You wouldn't have that in a sane society, and politicians still parading themselves as some kind of authority and legality in a country that obviously has failed in its responsibility to protect the people. So that is where Nigeria is. But the more they do this, the more they make the case for Biafra. The more they make the case why no sane people would want to be associated with such nonsense. They make the case for Biafra. They are the ones who demarcate Nigeria more than anybody.
Yes.
The Nigerian government is the one that demarcates Nigeria. So it is unfortunate, but it tells us exactly what we need to know about Nigeria, and even more reinforces the case for freedom for Biafrans.
God bless you, sir. Wow. Say no more. Say no more. You've spoken my heart. You've spoken well. It is clear that sometimes, I don't know how this thing happens. Maybe it's the water we drink in the Western world. Maybe it's because when you're in the Western world, suddenly food does not be, how should I put it? Food is no longer your problem. And then slowly you start to reason like a human being. You leave your animalistic culture, your animalistic way of life, your tribalistic way of doing things, your nepotistic Oyibo way of carrying out activities. You let go retapism and the rest of them, red tape, and start thinking like a thinking man. Because back in Nigeria, I remember till this day, people are praying for their daily bread. It means when your mind is not at rest, when your mind is not at ease, when you are communicating with God, you are communicating and praying into a different, I'll say into the 9th dimension. And what you are asking God for is your daily bread. That tells me you are not a free man. That means you are still immaturish in your reasoning. You are still a baby, an infant, the way you reason as a human being. You are less than a human. When the Western world called us to third of a human, to call a spade, what they meant was the state they saw some of you in Africa. You were not reasoning like humans. You still had your animalistic tendencies. Because it makes no sense until you're upright and start to think like a human being. That's when they'll regard you as humans. Because I keep asking myself, those that run Nigeria, when I look at these guys in government positions, what they do is just freestyling. They freestyle stuff. By God's grace, they freestyle and say, now God go do one by God's grace. There is no accountability, integrity, and responsibility in Nigeria when it comes to the government parastatals. There is nothing called the KPI being used to appraise the government officials in their propositions. When I say KPI, it means the key performance index. Key performance index. A scientific approach that once you are in government, I don't care if you are my cousin, if you are my in-law, if you're my best friend or best mate or best bridesmaid or best man in my wedding, if I am appraising your work in what they call the one-to-one appraisal, it is not by my own sentiments. It is by, I'm using the standard approved by the government to appraise you as a staff or an employee in the government. Key Performance Index, KPI. And when you want to go a bit deeper, there is something else called KRI, the Key Risk Index. For example, the man who was Zamfara State, the previous Zamfara State governor, to make him now to become your head of security or something in a position that you know this guy is a Boko Haram sympathizer. So when you are appraising such a man, after carrying out the key performance index of the job he's doing, you may have to also carry out what they call the key risk index, KRI, on him. How is he doing based on what is happening in the north, in the middle belt, the activities of Boko Haram, the rest of them, Sharia, the Fulani killer headsmen doing what they are doing? Is this man the right man to be in this position? What is the risk of having him in such a very sensitive position or to lead a particular organization in the government? But Nigeria, you guys are not up to that standard yet. You are still acting like children. You are still like babies. You are still doing tribalism. But when you apply the principles being applied in the Western world, especially when you are working in a private firm or in a civil service, handling a government job, you cannot let go the KPI, Key Performance Index of the job you are doing. What do I mean by KPI? If you are doing a particular job and you have your objectives, because the day you sign to that job, there are some key objectives I will give to you as your manager. The targets are there. How you go about meeting the targets. The support you need to meet the target. Lord have mercy. Also, the things from the side, the enabling environments that must be created by the organization to support you towards meeting your goals and objectives. And if you are struggling, if there are factors leading to you not meeting your objectives, they will have to be discussed between yourself and the organization. Now, when all these things are agreed, during the time of your appraisal, I will then have to extract all the information I have of you, the way you are doing your job, against the standards, the performance standards, the key performance standards that is expected of someone to do that particular job. So I don't care if you are my cousin, if you are my in-law, if you are my nephew, my townsperson, or whatever. I will pull out the work you have done. And from that, I will now measure it against the expected standard. It will now tell me and measure how well you are doing in that job, if you are performing or not. There is also something called the SLA, the Service Level Agreement. Oh my God, Western word is too much. No wonder we think they're different. It is called the Service Level agreement. On the very first day you got that job appointment in the government, the president would have told you this is your level of service we expect of you. I would juxtapose that with the key performance index of how well you are doing your job. And from the information, I will tell you if you are meeting expectations for your job role or not. That one, no prayer, no calling of God and other things will solve the problem. No saying, oh, please, my brother, this. No prayer, no tribalism can solve the problem, because I've pulled out from the system, from the computer system. I have pulled out your job so far, assessing it against the expected standard of service. And from that, it will now tell me if you are meeting the standard or you are below the standard. It shows your strength, your weakness, opportunity, and threat towards doing that job. And if you are not meeting those standards, there is something I'll have to do with you. It is called the PIP, I believe. Performance Improvement Plan. PIP. This one, no jazz, no tribalism here. If you are not meeting your job standard, to Tinubu, I'm giving you this now so you learn for free. For you to know that we, the Biafrans that are asking for freedom, we are not stupid. We have imbibed the culture of the Western world. And over time, our mind don't change. See the way this guy, they speak here. It shows you our level of intelligence. We have changed from the ways of the Nigerian way, tribalism, nepotism. Now your brother, give him the job, it's okay. It's your girlfriend, give her the contract to do it now, it's okay. A position, you give all your tribesmen, it's okay. Tribeman, do and just do the job, it's okay. Anyhow. In the Western world, we don't perform that way. I am judging your work based on the expected standards. And that standards must be aligned to the overall organization's goals and objectives. So from your own units, if you are not meeting those expectations, then there is no way that job can be yours. But as the Western world is, they will always give you the opportunity to try and improve in your performance. Hence the policy of the PIP, Performance Improvement Plan. Where sometimes if you're struggling, I might bring somebody who has more skills and expertise within that field to mentor you to an extent. They become your mentor. You may have to shadow them to learn how it's been done. For a particular time though, maybe in 6 weeks, in 4 weeks, you will shadow them, see the way they are doing their job. You see the way they are doing the job to meet those expected standards. And then sometimes they will now mentor you when you are doing your job. They are now watching how you are doing it. If at the end of that, you are still not meeting your standards, I may come with I may show you more empathy, because sometimes you might say, oh, please, I'm a slow learner. Okay, fine. I might put you into a training in those areas you are still weak. And at the end of the training, you will now again have a mentor to mentor you in that job. If you still cannot meet that job role, your KPI is still lower than the expected standard, the key performance index. If your KPI cannot meet the threshold, then unfortunately, that job is not yours. Because I've exhausted all the opportunities to make you meet the standard. If you cannot meet it, then you have two options. Either to resign, and within 6 months, you can now reapply for a different role within the government civil service, or we'll have to fire you. And if we fire you, it might take a while, but eventually, if we fire you, then it might take you 2 to 5 years to apply for that same job. You see, this is a problem. In a system designed that way, no brother, no tribalism will solve the problem. Because when you do tribalism and bring your brother in, and they don't meet the standard of the job, they don't remain in that job. Even the process to select the staff or the employee to get that job, there are processes you have to, follow. So I'm explaining all this for you guys to know, say, we in the Western world, your freedom must come from us, because we have learned the ways of the white man. They call it spade a spade. The standard, how they approach life. Oyibo man no get two head. All they do is they put their best foot forward. In everything they do, they put their best foot forward. That's why it looks like things are always easier. They know. There's something they call the self-appraisal of somebody, where you check your strength, your weakness, opportunity, and threat. The SWOT analysis. In that zoo called Nigeria, they only taught you SWOT analysis. But unfortunately, perhaps there was no extra books, or they didn't have the time to have lectures, seminars with those scholars that came with that SWOT analysis. The school of thought. So you only know what you see in those handouts you read in your, in the university. Where your lecturers, they will read a book, then they type some points out, they print it, they call it handout, they send it to you. You will now read the handout, and with the handout, you write your exam and you pass. It means you are limited in your scope. You are limited to what you know about that field. Handout is the worst thing that any lecturer can do to their students. Because when they give you a handout, and your job is just to read the handout to pass the exam, it means all you know is within that scope of that 30-page handout. But here in the Western world, after you have that your lecture, you go into the library, you read books on it, journals on it, you attend workshops of these scholars. And in one of the workshops, that was when, as God will have it, I now understand what you have to do after carrying out a SWOT analysis. I said, wow, now I understand why these big companies, they send you to some trainings in the Western world. The guy saw me when I was discussing, I was saying, the strength, SWOT analysis of the company, the strength, the weakness, opportunity, and threat, and all that. Once you've done that, then with time, you now know where you are strong at. He said, okay, fine, yes. You've known your strength, you've known your weakness, you've known your opportunities and threat. So what do you do afterwards? I was dumbfounded. This was my first time when I came to the Western world, and we went to a workshop. And I asked this guy, what do you mean by that? Yes, I've, breaking it down. These are my strengths. These are my weakness. These are my opportunities. And those are my threats. He said, yes. So what do you do afterwards? I said, yeah, but I'm breaking it down. So now I know where I'm strong at. I know where I'm weak at. I know the opportunities I have and the threat. Again, he told me, what will you now do with the information you have? I have no answer for that. Because in my own brain, from that zoo, when they taught us SWOT analysis, they only broke down your strength, your weakness, opportunity, threat. That was where it ended. That was where it ended. That was where it ended. So there is no other information. Because your lecturers in that zoo called Nigeria, they are also limited in the application of knowledge. God have mercy. So this man now looked at me and said, after doing that, you have to carry out what is called a regressional analysis of the SWOT analysis. I'm like, oh my God, what's this man talking about? He now said, once you are done with your strengths, you've written them down or broken them down, your strength, your weakness, opportunity, and threat. Now you have to now come from the threat backwards, a regressional analysis. How do you change your threat to opportunities? And how do you change your weakness to your strength? Young man, that's the reason why we are carrying out a SWOT analysis. You've now known your strength, your weakness, opportunity, and threat. SWOT. So now I want you to go back home and carry out a self-appraisal of yourself again to know how you now change your threats to opportunities and your weakness to your strengths. That once you can do that, so SWOT becomes backwards. Is it toes? I'm like, wow. Strength and weakness, weakness to strength. I said, wow. He said, once you have those answers, then apply it to your company. That's when you now see improvement of your company, in your job role, whatever. That's what is the main essence of carrying out the SWOT analysis. That's just the beginning of the analysis. Hey, I said, God have mercy. I was taken aback. I looked around me. I said, wow. Oyibo man no get too head though. It's just knowledge. It is just knowledge. And ever since, that have been with me. So Nigeria that you are seeing, the reason why Nigeria is the way it is because you guys don't carry out any analysis of yourself. No appraisal. You meet somebody, the minister of this, oh yeah, just try your best, by God's grace, God will do it for us, and don't worry, God, you call God, oh my God. So what do you expect? There's terrorism, people coming in from your borders are porous. What do you do? That's a threat. Borders, open borders, what do you do then from the north? What do you do? You see? So things like this are the things you guys don't do in Nigeria. That's why Nigeria is a failed state. When they call you a disgrace, a disgraced country, some of you don't understand why. But let's face it. In the 70s and the 80s, you guys were seen as a giant of Africa. Then Ghana was coming to Nigeria and we said the Ghana must go. No, you guys have to go back. The Ghana must go was a thing then. But today as we speak, South Africa, that are just there, they have 12 functioning ports, seaports. South Africa, 12 functioning seaports. And out of the 12, 9 are international seaports, even though the 12 can operate on that level. But in your Nigeria, because of tribalism and freestyling, you just freestyle things. You still have just one seaport because when Igbo, the Igbos, they will not get no seaport too. No, all the things must come from Lagos. No wahala, do use tribalism, get them. But in the economy of scale, you are shooting yourself on the foot. While the other countries are expanding, having more ways to interact with the world, making sure that their exportations are more than their importations, having more outlets to do business. You guys are still busy doing tribalism, saying there'll be one seaport. And those who are the king of business in Africa, these ones, they will not have no seaports. What about traveling? Look at Ghana here. How many airports? They go everywhere to fly to USA, to Europe, to London, to New York. From Ghana, go and do your research. But in Nigeria again, you say, okay, this is this. Let's apply. I know it's only the north and the west, the southwest. That's the only place where we are. No, the Igbo land. No, till this day as we speak, somebody who is in the east that wants to go to USA, you have to fly to where? To the north, to Abuja Airport, Lagos Airport. You want to travel. You have to travel before you travel. You are going to USA. You have to travel first for like 6-7 hours within your country. Before you now get to Lagos, you pay for hotel to stay. And then you then plan from Lagos to book your flight to California, to New York. And you expect your economy to be vibrant. No. You are cheating yourself. With tribalism, you are cheating yourself, because the aviation minister, if I am to appraise your work, I will come with the KPI standards. And the way I'll do it is I'll look, okay, Nigeria, I need to compare with other countries that have of your own pedigree. So let's bring Kenya. Let us bring Angola, South Africa. In fact, South Africa don't big person than now said, but okay, South Africa. Let us bring Ethiopia, come in here. Egypt, come in. Now, I will take the average of their standards of all those countries. Their standard, I go do the aggregate, average them, add them together, then take the average. I will now use that KPI average to check what the aviation minister of Nigeria is doing. So if the average says, okay, 7 international airports, I will not come to you and ask you, how come you only have 2 international airports? You are not meeting the standard to compete in the League of Nations. It means for you to topple South Africa, it's not possible, because you are still doing below. How do you have just 2? Okay, what plans have you put in place to change these 2 international airports to at least 6 international airports? You see, then you say, okay, well, we need some funding. I'm trying to do, but no, you guys are freestyling in Nigeria. You guys are freestyling in Nigeria. There is no KPI set for you guys. They appoint you for a job and they tell you, by God's grace, it go better. Try your best. You are doing a good job. How are you? Oh my God. Let's leave it there. Let's leave it. So there is no way Nigeria will remain a shithole, a disgraced country, an underdeveloping country, not an underdeveloped country, an underdeveloping country. Because you guys don't have any standard to base what you do. It makes no sense. When it comes to competitive advantage and comparative advantage in Africa, when it comes to business, the Biafrans are number 1. So it means during the days of Wazobia, if you are smart enough, you have the people that love to do business, who love to import, who love to export, who do trade, and the rest of them, then you should have known that if you can support these people, you will have a comparative advantage, a competitive advantage when it comes to business, when it comes to transaction, compared to countries like Kenya, Ghana, and the rest of them. Because within your own side, there is a people that when it comes to business, they are the kings and queens of business. So once you support them, invest in them, the way your zoo government want to invest in what? Ranches. Dirty looking animals carrying cows through and through. You are fighting and debating ranches and ruga. You want to create an enabling environment for those who head cows, headers. The money you want to waste on that level. If you carry the money, say, okay, oh, the Italians, they are good in making shoes and and fashion. Abba, we know these guys, we're hearing about it for so too long. Abba, you guys are very good in what you do. We want to compete. We want to invest in what you are doing. Let us put 2 billion. The money you wasted in doing that man's house, your VP's house in Lagos or wherever. The 2 billion you wasted in refurbishing the house of your vice president. Take the 2 billion and pump into the ABBA business and see how things will go in the next 5 years. That will now give you what? A competitive advantage over your rivals. Before you know it, ABBA becomes a thriving economy when it comes to making fashion clothes and shoes. And then now people who are buying shoes from where? From Italy, from Germany, they will turn around and start patronizing the shoes from ABBA, made in ABBA, because you know when it comes to the skills and the technical know-how, those in ABBA, they are too much. I repeat, those in ABBA, they are too much. So you now have to apply that wisdom. You invest in them. And before you know it, people all across Africa will be coming into Nigeria, flying to Aba because there's an international airport in Aba, for example. They will fly from Kenya to Aba. They will fly from South Africa to Aba. They will fly from... This is how you think. A thinking economy. You guys are not smart yet. You are still acting like children. But this is how you move to become a giant of Africa. Just from the little I've just said, you should see how we are thinking. If you have your international airports scattered all across, then somebody, if you're not investing even in far away Ogoni land, you invest in something they are good at. As long as there is an international airport somewhere around within an hour or two, people will fly in from there. They travel for an hour, go and buy the goods, then fly back. We do it now. When I go to China, from China, I enter Taiwan. From Taiwan, I enter to Thailand and see what is going on, buying goods. People do it. But you guys don't think. You are not a thinking economy. What you do is freestyling and tribalism. So there is no way for the next 100 years will Nigeria improve on the trajectory you guys are going. I've just given you guys the principles of comparative advantage and competitive advantage over your rivals. Over your rivals. But you guys don't think that way. When you put the right people in a job position, that's the first step. Forget about their tribe, forget about their religion. Put the right people in those right jobs and see things happen. Because them too, they've invested in their knowledge, in their education, in their technical know-how, in their expertise. They already have the skills. So when you put them in the right place, what do you expect? They add value to that job role. You guys aren't ready. So when you see the Biafrans speak this way, to wrap it up, is because we have eaten the forbidden fruit, which is the Western world culture. In your Bible, they say, oh, don't eat that fruit. Oh, Eve, if you eat that fruit, the day you eat it, your eyes will open. And some of you, when you read it, you think it was a bad thing. No. That thing wasn't the bad fruit, though. Life and death. Everything dies. Everything that lives must die. Your animals die. They didn't eat the fruit. So forget say, oh, when you eat this fruit, it becomes life and death. Forget those stories where they hear. The enlightenment comes when you taste from the fruit of knowledge. I'll not go more than that. So when we are asking for our freedom, it's because people like us, we don't the reason. Our eyes don't open. We don't chop that fruit. And there is no way somebody who have tasted this level will now be, how should I put it? Will now, compromise myself to now be following the way things are done in Nigeria. It's not possible. It means I'm either a tribalist. That, whoa, I've seen the best of life in the Western world, but when they come to Nigeria, oh, let's do it the way things are. No. You must make sure when you come to an environment, you change the environment for the better. So we, the Biafrans, we cannot conform in the way Nigeria is. We can't do it. That's why we are saying we are done with Nigeria, because Nigeria will not change. Just look at your backyard. Ghana must go, you were saying yesterday. Today, now they go to Ghana. Think about that. Yesterday, it was Ghana must go. Today, you guys are fighting to go to Ghana. You send your children to Ghana to school. I rest my case. Biafrans, rejoice, stay strong, and stay focused. This thing we are fighting for, it will not be easy. I'll be a liar to come and tell you to be easy. It won't be easy, because deep inside, some of them knows that if the Biafrans leave, we are next. We'll become the whipping boys in Nigeria. They know that stuff. They bully in the class. Sometimes, those when they follow the bully, they know say, if that boy, when they bully, they beat for class, when them all they laugh. The day when the boy say, okay, the parents come and take the boy away from that school, the bully will have to pick on somebody else to bully. So because of that, they are all supporting the bully against that guy when they fight for his freedom. That's the same scenario we find ourselves. Those who are claiming they love Nigeria now, the moment we Biafrans are completely done with Nigeria, we shall start watching Nigeria like a movie. And like a cancer, it will eat itself up from the inside. An implosion will happen. Mark my words. So leave them. Let them keep on supporting evil. Let them say what they want to say about Nnamdi Kanu. Yes, he's a terrorist. Yes, he's a terrorist. But they saw this man won 5 cases. Nigeria refused to obey any of them. But the only one that Nigeria won through a crooked judge, a man who was reading out his judgment and could not even comprehend what he was reading. That one, they all ran with it. Nnamdi Kanu, yes, kill him, pop on the shame, hang him. Like, it should be death now. It should be death. It should be death penalty. Kill him. Bunch of cowards. But leave them. It is their own time to shine. Leave them. Let them keep on doing what they are doing. But deep inside, nobody will lie to themselves. When they look at the mirror, they will. Only a fool will do a sober reflection of themselves and lie to themselves that Nnamdi Kanu is the problem. He is not. He is the problem solver. He saw this coming. He told them what was to come. Today, everything he said has come to pass. So just leave those ones who are, trying to think it's an Igbo, Yoruba thing, an Igbo thing. Just ignore them. This job will not be easy. I'll be a liar if you think this will be easy, but soon and very soon, that freedom will be completed in the name of God. I rest my case. For those that have ears, let them hear. For those that have ears, let them hear. No more talk.
Nnamdi Kanu is a clear example. In 2022, Nigeria's Court of Appeal struck down the charges against him and ordered his release. The UN Working Group on Arbitrary Detention has also called for his unconditional release. Yet he remains in solitary confinement, in deteriorating health, and recently had to represent himself in court. Nigeria has signaled that the law is optional and targeting Christians is fair game. Just hours ago this morning, despite the pleas and cries of the Nigerian people and many Nigerian lawmakers, Nnamdi Kanu was convicted on all charges. For fiscal year 2025, the U.S. has requested nearly $8 billion for sub-Saharan Africa. But when Americans see political prisoners, judicial defiance, and the slaughter of Christians, they understandably ask as they meet their own struggles, why should our tax dollars support governments that refuse to protect their own people? Is our aid aiding a genocide? Nigeria is a nation of tremendous potential, but that potential is being choked out by violent persecution of its Christian population. No country can build a stable future where churches are burned, believers are killed, and communities live in fear.